Planning Commission for, excuse me, Monday, March 20th is called to order. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 is roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Frederick?
Here.
Mr. Gloffelty?
Here.
Mr. McAnally?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Here.
Ms. Roscoe?
Here.
Ms. Jamieson?
She's excused.
Excuse, okay, thank you. Mr. Crover?
Here.
And I'm here, Mr. Guguade, and Ms. Freitag?
Here. Item 3 is approval of the agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support?
Who supported that?
I did.
You did? I have a motion from Mr. excuse me, Mr. Gladfelty, supported by Mr. Boboade, to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? None? Mr. Gladfelty,
Yes.
Mr. Boboade,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Krova,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. McAnally,
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the agenda is approved. Item 3 is approval of the minutes.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
Do I have support? I have a motion from Mr. Krova, supported by Mr. Long, to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on January 18th, 2023. Any discussion? Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Gladfelty?
Yes.
Mr. Boboade?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The minutes are approved. Moving right along, we have comments from the public on non-agenda items. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on something that's not on our agenda tonight? Not everybody at once, please. Okay. Seeing no one, we will just go on. Item 6, public hearings. We do not have any public hearings tonight. Item 7, old business. We do not have any old business tonight. New business, and we have SPR 2021021. Taplin ISA Logistics at 6470 for the Taplin Group and 6532 for the Isla Trucking on Beverly Plaza. And they're asking for reoccupancy and redevelopment of 6470 Beverly Plaza for the Taplin Group and Full Service Environmental Services Company, and a site plan for ISA Trucking to utilize a portion of the building and site for a trucking company on 6532 Beverly Plaza. And the petitioners are here?
Point of clarification, Madam Chairman.
Yes.
Now, on our agenda, it says SPR 2021-021. On our planner's notes, it says SPR 2021-022.
It is.
Oh, yeah. On your cover,
22.
on your cover letter.
It should be
22.
22.
The
Should be
agenda's
22?
incorrect. Yeah, there's a typo on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good eye.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's 2021022. Petitioners are here?
Good evening. My name is Steve Manella. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Taplin Group. I'm representing our president and owner, Steve Taplin, along here with Vaughn Martin with Wade Trim. Good evening.
Good evening.
As you mentioned, we are seeking approval for the reoccupancy and redevelopment of 6470 Beverly Plaza and a site plan for ISA Trucking to utilize a portion of the building and site for a trucking company on 6532 Beverly Plaza, which is adjacent to the 6470 property. Taplin Group is a full-service environmental services company that has been in business for 71 years. We have 4 locations in Michigan. We have been in the Romulus community since 2010. We maintain standard office hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with 24-hour on-call operations. Our crews and trucks arrive at the yard at all hours due to the nature of their work. And Taplin Group is nearly similar to the operations of the company that previously existed at that property, which was K&D Industrial Services. Taplin Group would like to utilize the yard for outdoor storage at 6470 Beverly Plaza for equipment such as vacuum trucks, empty roll-off boxes, camera trucks, stake trucks, some heavy equipment, pickup trucks, and 2 Connex storage boxes. ISSA Logistics is a Sorry, did somebody say something? I apologize. ISSA Logistics is a freight transportation and logistics company that also has a terminal in Toledo, Ohio. ISSA maintains office hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and has drivers coming in and out of the yard on a daily basis. Due to the nature of their work, ISSA also has on occasion trucks arriving at off hours. ISSA would utilize the building at 6532 and the yard at 6532 for outdoor storage of 53-foot trailers and some tractors. We are seeking variances and waivers related to this effort, and Vaughn will discuss that later in the presentation. For the more technical part of the presentation, I'll have Vaughn do that.
Hi, good evening. So just to kind of walk through some of the finer points of this effort, if you take a look up here, this is the existing site as it is now. We have this area that's bounded here. This is the ISSA, or this is Taplin's actual parcel, but one parcel that encompasses this area right here, and that is part of 6472 Beverly Plaza. So then for ISSA, it encompasses, the ISSA site plan, it encompasses 7 parcels that extend along Beverly Plaza. And so, and then the way this is going to operate, there's going to have to be some shared use. So if we go here, this is our site plan that speaks to what we're proposing specifically. So you can see here in the Taplin area, we have outdoor storage here. This is where the items that Steve mentioned would be stored. We have an existing building here, and we have improvements out in front of the building here and out on the side of the building here and through this drive. This is all new concrete that would be replaced as a part of this reoccupancy approval for Taplin. Right now, the concrete in this area is in disrepair, and as I said, as a part of this, we would be improving that. And also, we would be replacing the asphalt pavement that is within this existing parking lot. This parking lot extends into what would be the ISSA parcel, and we are also improving the approach off of Beverly Plaza here. This has been designed to handle a semi-truck entering the site, going through, coming all the way around and out on this side. You can see the truck turning radius that's there if you look hard enough. It's a little hard maybe in this image. So, and then the ISSA site, you know, is here, as I described earlier. We are looking to install a truck trailer storage parking area here along this side of the facility, which is the east side, and then the west side as well. Parking area is up here. This is concrete, as we've shown. Again, this drive that goes through the site is also concrete. This cobble-looking area, we're proposing that to be gravel, which would be the area that the vehicles would, or the trucks would enter and back up into the spaces, drop their rigs off, and then continue out. As a part of this, we've incorporated a storm drainage system that picks up the storm drainage, directs it to a new pond at the southern end of the lot, which then outlets we're proposing it to outlet into the existing storm system along Beverly. As part of this, we're also, as required, we're extending water main into the site. Currently, in the letter that you've received, the city engineer has requested 8-inch. We currently show it at 6, but we'll simply bump that up to the appropriate requested size, which I'll get to in a minute, but we're also proposing extensive landscaping along the entire frontage, along the pond, and to facilitate the requirements. So in order for this, what's before you, both the reoccupancy and the site plan approval to work concurrently, we've proposed introducing an agreement between the two sites that allows truck access in perpetuity on the Taplin parcel, where it would enter this section right here. So we'll put together an agreement that will allow trucks in perpetuity for ISSA to enter the site, go through it, and exit out this way. That agreement would also, it's a shared use agreement. It would also cover the fire truck circulation for Taplin. It provides circulation for the site for both sites. The parking area, so there are the employees that work in this building, and there's some shared office space in this building for ISSA. They park here in this area, so there'll be an agreement that allows them to utilize that parking lot in perpetuity as well. And I think that covers the agreements that would need to be in place for the two sites. So moving to by the way, it's very nice.
Can I make a comment, question, please, through the chair? What I've heard so far is they're going to develop a working agreement which will allow them to function as a unit on the property, but that's different from the assessors combining the parcels, right?
So there's a couple things going on. You can see it, actually you can see it real clear on the site plan. The Taplin site, which is the northernmost, yep, right there, that's one piece already. The combination is the ISSA properties to the south. Those are a bunch of, how many lots are there, 6 or 8? Those all need to be combined together. So there's going to be 2 separate lots, 2 separate addresses, 2 separate tenants with some shared access and parking. And the 2 tenants, ISSA uses some of the Taplin building, which is the northernmost building. So it's kind of complicated, but actually a great way for 2 tenants to function on.
But that's separate from the assessors, what they need to see.
It'll be just part of it once it moves forward. They'll combine them. They'll combine those bottom parts for ISSA for that site.
And whatever agreement they come up with is not binding if one of the tenants leaves.
Well, there's going to need to be, with these cross-access, they're going to need to have that in perpetuity, like he said.
Okay, that's why I
They're
wanted to
tied
make sure.
together. Right, and being that it's the one-way, the driveways, so, yes.
It'll be forever.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so here's a better look at the Taplin site. So we're incorporating ADA parking, van accessible with ADA ramps and sidewalks entering the building. Also it's in this view as well, for ISSA, we're doing the same for that building as well. Here's a closer look at ISSA's component. I covered that in pretty good detail with the amenities that we're proposing on this site. So within that letter, the city engineer has mentioned the storm sewer along Beverly Plaza is currently in need of some maintenance, and we would be looking to work with the city and figure out what has to be done in order. I think it probably needs just to be use the vac machine and clean out the debris in the basins and perhaps jet the lines and that to see the condition of the actual storm sewer there. But we would work with them to make sure that that's a feasible outlet for that pond. So as a part of this, there are several waivers that have been brought up. We're requesting to use gravel in that center space that I mentioned in lieu of pavement. We are requesting a waiver for the green space, 45 feet instead of 50. There's no berm on the partial frontage of the property, but it's only the area that is extended along the buildings, there's not a lot of room to put a berm. There's really not enough room to put a berm there, but we do propose a berm along the parking lot for the outdoor storage for the truck parking, the truck trailer parking. So we're also asking to forego the irrigation requirements in terms of placing the irrigation along the site for landscaping. And then we've calculated the amount for the sidewalk as well, where we've proposed, we proposed to contribute to the fund for your sidewalk program versus installing a sidewalk, but that, we may decide to do that as well, just add the sidewalk, but for now, that's what we're proposing to do. Variances, we've requested that we get a variance because Beverly Plaza is not a designated truck route. The outdoor storage area for 6532, which is the ISSA site, exceeds the allowable outdoor storage area. So we're requesting a variance for that. And then the setback, which I think is shown incorrectly, but we're requesting a variance for the, well, actually, I think we've determined there is some I think it's been determined that the 45-foot setback for it's 45 feet is the actual setback requirement, not 75 feet, but I could be wrong about that. So those are the items that we're looking to get a variance on. Which leads me to the landscaping plan that we've proposed. You can see that we have along the entire frontage, there's very little right-of-way. There's very little green space outside the right-of-way in front of the building for Taplin, but we've populated it with as much landscaping as we can fit in that space. And then we've also done the same along the existing asphalt parking lot area and the existing building area here. Populated that quite well with landscaping. And in this area is shown actually this whole length. We've proposed a berm with also with a 5-foot vinyl coated chain link fence, as well as landscaping along the entire length. And as you can see, it's pretty robust, and we've provided the landscaping as required around the detention pond and filled in some spaces along the back area as well. So lots of landscaping. And lastly, so we have, this is in progress, but I wanted to make sure you folks knew that we have submitted a lighting plan. In this last submittal, we did not submit a revised lighting plan due to some timing issues. So, but you can also see here, we're proposing a pretty robust lighting plan as well, which facilitates your ordinance. We still have some work to do based on some comments that were made, but you know, as it stands right now, there's a light, there's an existing light here, and there's an existing light here, and the rest of these little circles are all new. These are all new lights. Now there are wall packs along. These are all existing lights along them, which are newer, I think, along the building. So there are wall pack lights along the building here, but they don't. We're adding new lights out here, and then updating the lighting on the existing building with new wall pack lights. These are much older and outlived their useful life. And then we're proposing some poles, some light poles over here as well. So with that, turn it over to any questions that you folks might have.
Thank you. Carol or Jess, did either one of you have, or Jeff, did any of you have comments before we open it up, or?
We wanted to point out a couple things. On the waivers being requested on page 9, the amount,
Well, I see OHM has
yes,
waived, and also the city, so.
right, that was updated in their report.
On Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Oh,
Jessica
sorry.
can
So in
explain.
regards to the calculation that Wade Trim completed, it was based on $25 a linear foot, it appears like, and that was a previous dollar amount that was acceptable for payment in lieu of. The current dollar amount is $30 a linear foot, and that brings the total request that'll have to be revised in the resolution that's in your packet to $30,623.
So it was the 30,000, correct?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments from the,
Just, if I may, is the waiver requirement for the 45-foot setback still relevant? Okay, it's still relevant.
It's a confusing, so the 45-foot, there's a requirement in the ordinance that requires the green belt for trucks is inconsistent with the setback requirement. When you double the 30-foot and the 15-foot, you've got a 45-foot setback, which they meet that for the most part. They need the waiver along, I don't know if you can pop the plan up and show them where it's not 45 feet.
Yeah, so the waiver is, this section right here is not.
The green belt would require 50 feet in front of trucks and a half. So it's 50 plus 25. You got into that with lease steel way back then. And that standard was sort of questioned back then, why it wasn't consistent with the setbacks. But the setback in there, which is a variance, is only 45 feet. They do meet that in front of there. And then some of the setback down, of course, where the existing development is, that's existing non-conforming. So they do not need to get a waiver on anything that's existing.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? Is that what you were asking?
It makes sense now that it's still a required waiver.
It's a waiver, correct.
And that it shows me where.
And it's under your authority as opposed to going and getting a variance.
Understood, okay.
any other questions or comments? Mr. Gladfelty, and then Mr. Boboade, and then Mr. Long?
A couple questions for you guys. You got plans to remove the millings from the site?
Yes,
I didn't hear that, but I read it here in the notes.
that's
The
correct.
other question I have, who's going to be responsible if you vacuum down the pipe, the storm sewer, and the pipe turned out it's collapsed? Who's going to be responsible for that? I mean, we're not going to know till we vacuum them down, but
Well, I think, so typically, because it's a city sewer, city-owned sewer, if it was in disrepair, I think, and I might be out of line here, I think it would be the responsibility of the municipality to repair the storm sewer.
If I may, through the chair, we have had discussions with the DPW. They are putting Beverly Plaza on a maintenance schedule, so they are going to go out and take a look at the storm sewer. We do anticipate that once the storm sewer is cleaned, that they will have enough capacity. We do note in the letter that it's always a possibility that they don't, but they do have enough room to expand the pond if they need more storage prior to releasing into Beverly. And then the other item in regards to the storm sewer is, as Vaughn had stated, is that it is the public storm sewer. It's in the public right-of-way. The paving that is going to occur on this site will help reduce the amount of soil erosion or soils that get into the storm sewer and cause it to be an issue as well. So the improvements that are being proposed will hopefully help with lessening the maintenance that's required out on the street.
all right, thank you.
All right. Mr. Boboade, and then Mr. Long?
Yes, through the chair, a question, could you please shed a little more light on the environmental services? Is it, since you'll be storing trailers on site, is it hazardous material, or can you shed a little more light on that?
Sure, yeah. Our company, Taplin Group, is an environmental services company, so we clean up contaminated sites, we respond to spills on the highway, and clean storm sewers. That's another component that we do. ISSA that will be there will just have tractor trailers, and they do not have hazardous waste. I mean, most of them are typically empty when they come and pick up an empty trailer, and then they go off and do a delivery somewhere. So they have told me specifically there's no hazardous waste stored or any hazard material stored on the site.
Okay, so these are just empty trailers that are being stored, it's not like it's a cross dock?
Correct, no.
Okay.
They'll bring a trailer in, it may have boxes in it, another rig comes and moves it and goes off to a different location.
Okay.
Most of them are empty from what I've seen with their operations, they come back empty, they pick up an empty trailer, but they don't store any stuff on a dock or anything like that at all.
Okay, okay, yep, that's.
All set?
Yes,
Mr. Long?
thank you.
Yes, actually, Mr. Guardi covered my question that I was going to ask about the materials that would be on site. And also, will you be having security measures to secure that as far as cameras or lock gates or anything like that?
Yes, sir. There currently are cameras on site. We plan on revising the cameras and expanding their view, as well as we, at some point, are going to have either lock gates or rolling gates, something that the gates will be secured at that point. They're not fully functional now, the gates, but that's part of our plan, they would be, yes,
Yeah, 'cause
for our equipment and for
you're
their.
pretty isolated over there, that's why I asked
It
that
is,
question.
yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All set? Mr. Prova?
Yep, thank you, through the chair. Nothing was really mentioned about the fuel stations that are there. It looks like you have 2 or 4 fuel pumps.
Yes.
Do you plan on keeping those?
We have we have 2 sets of fuel pumps, only one is operational, certified by the state.
Okay.
We've had all the information to the fire department. We do plan on keeping the one functional. The other one is still there, the tank is empty, we're not using it, but one is certified and functional at this time.
Okay, and then the other thing is, you mentioned ISSA's hours of operation, but you did mention that they do some stuff after hours. How much would there be?
Yeah, they come in, they may come, from what I know, it doesn't seem like there's dozens of trucks coming in at night. 1 or 2 trucks. Early in the morning is more typical than the middle of the night from what I've seen, to pick up a load and then go. It's very limited, after office hours, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I know, there's a lot of homes, residential homes west, if you head west on Beverly, and
Correct.
they've been there for decades, and
Yep,
I know they wouldn't want to see that excessive traffic at 2 in the morning.
understood.
Thank you.
Is that it? Yep. Mr. McInally, you had another question?
Yeah, through the chair. Now that you've got that up there, could you highlight where the new fence will be?
Yeah, so the new fence will be along the entire frontage of the site, and it extends all the way to here.
And then any other remaining fence will either be repaired or replaced as needed with the same height and with barbed wire?
That's one thing, I don't know if we had in there for barbed wire. We had black vinyl coated, maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, we did not have barbed wire fence going back at this,
Okay.
at this time along the frontage. It would be the vinyl coated fence, less of a security fence and more of a.
Decorative,
Yeah. yeah.
because it looks pretty bad right now.
Yeah, yeah, that whole frontage would all be new, so that it would be new vinyl coated fence along the front, but it would only be, 5 foot high, I think, is what.
Okay.
5 foot high,
Thank you.
4 foot high.
Any other questions or comments? Are we doing this all as one motion?
That would be nice. Do it all in one, they're all tied together.
Or no other questions or comments?
Just a
Go
quick
ahead.
question. So I counted the truck spaces here through the chair. I didn't see anywhere in here where it said the total of truck trailers, but I counted 68. Is that,
So I think we were at 70, we deleted 2 to put in the hydrant that we put right here. So we had to delete a couple. And then, depending on where we go with the lighting plan, we may lose a couple or more.
Okay, and so the dock doors at the building here, what's going on in the building? If it's just truck trailer storage?
Yeah, so the building is for, they utilize so here, you got an overhead door here, a matching overhead door on the other side, and there's like bays through there. And so if there is maintenance that's needed on a trailer or anything like that, they pull in here, enter here, the trailer or truck is, the trailer is dropped off or the truck, and then they do their maintenance work, and then when they're done, they pull through and, exit out the site. So that area there is primarily for their working on the vehicles and then internal storage in the areas that they're not using.
So when you say maintenance on the trucks, that'd be like oil changes and stuff?
Fix airline, oil changes, change tires, on their equipment inside.
Gotcha. Because back to the city on this, what's the rules as far as like to control any type of spill that would happen inside a building, let's say? There's what do they call that?
Grease trap.
Yeah.
Grease
Mike
trap.
always asks about it, and Jessica always answers.
I didn't see one on there.
That does have an oil, excuse me, I'm sorry, it has an oil water separator for those drains in that building.
Well, that's good.
It's already there.
I didn't see it.
Read that, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going with that, because it's better to find out then than to find out out on Beverly. All right, thank you very much.
No other questions, no other comments?
Madam Chairman,
Mr. McNally?
I make the motion to approve site plan for SPR 2022-022, Taplin Group, ISA Logistics, subject to the 9 items listed, with number 5 being a variance from the BZA for the ISA trucking, and then also subject to 6E for the subject, or the amount of the sidewalk in lieu of construction of sidewalk to be $30,623 instead of what was listed.
Support. Yep.
I have a motion from Mr. McAnally, supported by Mr. Boboade, to approve SPR 2022-022, Taplin Group, ISA Logistics, subject to the 9 items that are listed on page 9 of the planner's report dated March 14th, 2023, and any other subsequent recommendations from other
Departments.
sources. Good?
Just a modification, it should be SPR's 2021-022, correct?
2021-022.
For the record, that's
That
what.
came in
It's
in
2022.
2021.
No, it's the last number was 22.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, so it's
right.
2021.
The agenda had
Gotcha, okay.
21.
Correct, it would read 2021-022.
There you go.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, Mr. McAnally.
Yes.
Mr. Boboade.
Yes.
Mr. Gladfelte.
Yes.
Mr. Frederick.
Yes.
Mr. Krova.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. You are approved.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Moving right along, we have SPR 2022-030 RSS Trailer Repair, located at 16200 Warman. It's a project is a 20,800 square foot truck and trailer repair building with rear yard outdoor storage, parking of trucks and trailers. Petitioner is here. If you'd like to give us your name and address for the record.
Yes. Hello, my name is Scott Tuzant with Boss Engineering. Address is 3121 East Grand River Avenue in Howell, Michigan. And here I've got Carl Woolmar.
Pucci and Ballmer Architects, address 508 East Grand River Avenue, Brighton, Michigan, 48116.
And I will start out talking about the site. Before I really jump in, as you opened, you mentioned a approximately 20,000 square foot building. I do want to note that that's the footprint. There is a second floor for an office space, so the total square footage is around 24,000, which that is indicated in some of the planner letters as well. So I just wanted to clarify that before moving forward. So here, if you look at the screen, is just an aerial view, just to give you an idea of where it's at. The site is frontage on Warman Road, and at the rear of the property is I-275. This site sits immediately to the north of the existing McLaughlin's distribution center. So talking about the site as it currently sits, the site, as far as topography goes, is relatively flat, only a few feet of elevation change from east to west. The site is wooded. As you can see on the plan, we indicate all the trees and all the trees proposed to be removed to facilitate the construction of this project. This is about a 7.5 acre site, and again, site access will be off of Warman Road. The site currently has some wetland pockets in the center of the site, as well as on the north edge and the west side near I-275. We are currently going through the WIP process with Eagle for the wetland identification program to verify the regulation status. So that is in progress. Part of that process, it is timing. They have to allow vegetation to actually come up. So it's not my specialty, but I believe the time frame starts in about May when that can happen. So we have initiated that process. So the site itself will have, as I mentioned, it's going to be roughly 20,000 square foot footprint of the building. It will have a second floor for an office space, which Carl will get to after I'm done presenting with the site itself. The building is for truck and trailer repair. This is an RSS trailer repair project. So the building has, let's see, here we go. Right here on this side, it has 6 bays, service bays for the trailers. And on the west side, it has 3 bays on the north end of the building and 3 bays on the south. So 6 trailer bays, 6 truck bays. To the rear of the building, we have the truck and trailer storage. Just to give you an insight of what this operation looks like, it has between 25 to 30 employees, give or take. Approximately 10 of those employees, their role at RSS would be to come to the site, take one of the site tractors and head out and pick up trailers to bring them to the site for repair. The remaining employees would be service and within the office itself. We do provide, I believe it's 34 parking spaces, including 2 ADA spaces near the front entrance of the building, right here. The back, as I mentioned, is reserved for outdoor storage for the truck and trailers after repair. A majority of them, 18 spaces here, 16 spaces here, and 18 here, totaling 52 trailer spaces. And then we have 6 spaces right here for the trucks. I will note that with the with the hydrants that we are proposing, we do get hydrant coverage on the 18 spaces here, 18 spaces here, and 6 spaces here. So those spaces, they would be able to double park some of the tractors there. These back 16 would be for empty trailers only, non-combustible. We have a dumpster pad located right here on the north end of the site. With respect to deliveries, there will be minimal deliveries overall. As I mentioned, it is a truck and trailer service, so there will be storage provided within the building for parts, miscellaneous parts, et cetera. So, let's see. So on the north end of the site near Warman Road, you see this dashed line? That is the stormwater facilities for the site. It will be designed and sized according to the latest standards for treatment and volume. It will discharge into the existing storm system that is on Warman Road. That is our only point of discharge. With respect to the utilities, I believe I have a utilities plan in here. So there currently is water main running along Warman Road. There's actually an existing stub crossing the road for this property. So we're going to tie into that stub right there and run it on the north side of the building, head south, and tie into an existing water main that runs to the rear of the McLaughlin's distribution center. So we are providing a water main loop, which will also incorporate three new fire hydrants that does provide coverage for the building in a majority, as I mentioned, the majority of the trailer and truck outdoor storage at the rear of the building. As I mentioned, site stormwater, we have detention at the front, as is typical with any other site. We have a smattering of catch basins to collect from the parking areas, all of which are paved for discharge to the forebay, then to the detention basin, and then out to the storm sewer at the road. With respect to the service bay use, as you discussed towards the end of the discussion prior to ours, for an instance of any type of oil spill within the service bay, there is an oil water separate provided in the plans on the site right here to the south side of the building. And as far as landscape plan, I showed you and started off with the existing conditions plan. So there is a lot of trees on the site, and a lot of trees are being removed, but I will note that we're saving approximately 1/3 of them. Of those 1/3, nearly all of them are right here on the north side and on the west side. The west side, this is not the edge of the property. The property extends a little bit further. As far as showing this at an appropriate scale, we felt like this gave you the picture. So aside from all the existing trees, mature trees that are on the north side and the west side of the site, we are providing a berm with evergreens to help screen the outdoor storage that's on the rear of the property. And although not required, we are providing some evergreens on the south side to help fill in the spaces left behind with the mature trees that are still kind of remaining on the south side. As you can see, there are some trees right here that are not within our property, but we felt we didn't need additional screening within our property at that point. So we've tried to close the gap on the south side as well. Here at the site entrance, we do have a row of evergreen trees here. The purpose of those would be to help shield any view for a driver heading northerly on Warman Road. And of course, on Warman Road itself, we do have proposed a berm fully landscaped as well. The detention basin has landscaping. I will note one of the comments with respect to the detention basin landscaping was to just space the landscaping around the entirety of the perimeter of the basin. We have no objection to that. We simply didn't propose that initially because we felt its proximity to the Warman Road greenbelt berm was sufficient to help appear as if it has the landscaping. We're not double dipping on the landscaping. We're simply condensing what is required in the remaining portion. But again, we have no objection to making that change and spacing it out. And with that, I will pass it over to Carl for the building.
All right. So as Scott said, we're proposing a 20,800 square foot on the first floor and 3,464 square feet on the second floor. On the east side of the building, as he said, this is for trailer repair. West side of the building is for the tractor repair. On the first floor here in the middle, we have offices and then storage. On the second floor, offices and storage as well. Just one backwards. These are just blow-ups of the the two floor plans if we need to look at anything larger. The exterior elevations, front elevations, which would be I-275 and Warman Road, are composed of, split-face concrete block base, and then sea brick above that for the whole elevation. And then the side elevations are composed of the same split-face concrete block base and then sea brick infill between the windows, or I'm sorry, the overhead doors, and then all the way up at the ends and in the middle. These elevations, because at any point coming down Warman Road, you're going to see the sides of the building. And when we were talking about this with the planner, and they had said, if from 275 you can see any part of the building, it has to be designed as a front elevation. So these materials are the same materials as the front, and they meet the percentage requirements for a front elevation. So in essence, we have 4 front elevations. And so these are the renderings. So this would be from Warman Road. This is the front entrance over here. I know, it sounds odd to say front, but that's the main entrance, maybe would be a better way to put it. But you can see we have a dark brown base with some bands and off-white color on the block. And then the pre-finished metal panel going from the tops of the doors up. And this would be from 275. Obviously, you're going to be further away, but didn't really see sense in showing you a rendering with a building that was this big. So we zoomed in closer. Any questions?
Madam Chair. I think what the city, as part of this overlay, southern overlay, what we were trying to get from you guys is what does it look like from the freeway and what does it look like as you drive down Warman Road, so we can get some sort of gauge of what the screening will be and what visibility you'll have from those two areas.
Well, again, we were told by the planner, if at any point you can see the building, and I even said, you know, as you're traveling north on 275, you shouldn't be looking off to the side. And they said, well, sometimes you're stopped, and you'd be looking around. So at any point, you're going to see the building.
But did you not hear her ask you to provide some sort of rendition of what the screening would look like? So there's
no
going to be no
screening.
trees between
Well,
the front of that building or 275.
We were told deciduous trees didn't count. So it was just.
So I'll take that as a no.
That would count.
You didn't
Right.
provide any
Well,
of those renditions.
The existing trees there are deciduous, so.
We didn't really say that they didn't count. Jessica, I think it's addressed better in your letter.
Well, so in regards to the landscaping that was provided, we had asked for landscaping along the berm on the west side, and we asked for that landscaping to contain more evergreen trees in order to provide year-round coverage of the, or year-round,
Screening.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Year-round screening of the truck bay doors, which we do agree that the architectural materials that have been selected and are used are in agreement with the intent of the Southern Gateway. The overhead doors still do require screening. So the intent of any view shed would be to make sure that the evergreens that have been proposed will indeed screen those overhead doors from the 275 traffic and the Warman Road traffic. The building location on its site does also benefit from the fact that the furniture store, or the furniture warehouse to the south is set so close to 275 that the majority of the building is not going to be able to be seen. But again, we wanted a rendition just to show you guys that the building would block it, the evergreens that are being proposed, the berm that's being proposed are all going to block the overhead doors for the majority of the year. And we did make a comment that there was a lot of deciduous trees that were being saved between the edge of the parking lot and I-275. And when you have leaf off, those are not going to be adequate screening for the doors. So currently, you have 11 evergreens on the backside of that berm currently?
Correct. So the berm, I forget the exact height, 3 to 4 feet. The evergreens, again, per ordinance, I don't remember if it's a minimum 6 feet or 8 feet. Can't quite read it at this distance. Those two combined puts you at a minimum 10 to 11 feet, or potentially closer to 12 feet. And that's approximately what the height of the overhead doors themselves would be. So that alone, I mean, we may have a little bit more room to go maybe another foot or so higher with the berm. It's getting a little tighter, and then we would be, that would require the removal of a few extra of those existing trees. That might be possible. Another potential is if 6 feet is a minimum that's required, that maybe 8 feet can be what's started out there, just to start at a little bit mature, a higher, more mature height. With respect to visibility from 275 and the proximity of the building to the south, which is McLaughlin's, so we're just off the view here, but it's approximately where the pointer is, and it must be right near the setback line off of 275. And as far as angles, somebody would need to essentially clear, from a north-south perspective, would need to clear the McLaughlin's to be able to see overhead doors. And with that being said, so if somebody's sitting roughly where the pointer is on 275, which just for perspective, I think in the plans I have indicated it's about a little over 500 feet to the corner of the building right here, to the property line. And then it's probably an approximately 60 more feet from the property line to a travelable lane on 275. So we're closing in on about 600 feet from the edge of 275, almost 90 degrees across. With that being said, we have 3 to 4 foot berm with 6 to 8 foot trees on it. So with that, we felt justified in the fact that we would be adequately screened, and of course with the building material improvements on all 4 sides as well.
Conclude with. Just at this point, under our recommendation, we still have administratively, the screening will be reviewed upon completion of construction.
Correct. We do, as with any site, we do ask that at the completion of the installation of landscaping, we will go out and take a look, and if there needs to be additional, that will be requested at that time.
These are tall doors, and there's a good chance they're going to spend a lot of time in the summer open, and people will be able to, if they have not screened or visible, people will be looking at them.
Correct.
So,
The height of required evergreens is 8 feet, so it would be, if you were looking to propose an additional, a 10-foot high evergreen. It would
It's
be
actually 8 to 10.
Yeah, so a
right
10
now.
to
So if
12.
you wanted to go higher, 10 to 12. Yeah.
And that wouldn't necessarily have to be all evergreens on site, but if the commission so chose the evergreens on the berm, if you wanted to start out as a taller evergreen, you would ensure a quicker screening of the 275 traffic.
There's one other thing, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that more, but there was one other thing that needed to be added to the recommendation. It's on the site plan, and that is the waiver and the driveway location and the spacing requirements.
And I can speak to that. I was just going to jump that. I just wanted to see if there was any more discussion on landscape, which we can go back to.
But we appreciate you pointing it out. It was missed in both our letters.
So the waiver would be for the location of the drive, the site access point. What's required is 350 feet minimum driveway spacing. So the McLaughlin's drive is just below off the screen. It's about 160 feet center to center. So as far as the location, the frontage of the site itself, the subject property is just over 300 feet. So getting 350 feet would require the north edge of that curve to, if not be right on the property line, be maybe a little bit over the property line. So as far as the spacing, we don't think we can be compliant regardless. As far as the location, and the traffic that we do anticipate seeing, we feel that this is one of the better locations along the frontage. We also need to keep in mind, there is an overhead power line right here, that light line. So there is a couple power poles, one of which is right here inconveniently in the middle of the site, so that is prohibiting some additional, finagling of where that drive ultimately ended up. So it would be a waiver for a waiver from the 350-foot minimum driveway spacing requirement per table 14.06C.
If I may, through the chair, we will provide recommendation written to Carol for the files, but we do recommend that the waiver be accepted, or the waiver request be granted. As stated, the driveway would have to be all the way at the north, and then that just continues to the next time the north property, which is vacant as well. You're going to end up with a waiver somewhere along this because of the width of the existing properties. The amount of truck traffic, or the amount of traffic that's leaving the warehouse to the south does not concern us with conflicting movements out of this proposed facility.
We're doing truck and trailer repair. What kind of repairs do you perform on these vehicles?
Steve Crane with Crane Construction, 893 South Old US 23, Brighton, Michigan. Basically what they do is they pull the trailer. It could be just replacing a light, it could be replacing a brake pad, it could be really replacing the air pad for trailers. It's pretty simple stuff. If somebody pulls a trailer in and tears the side of the trailer open, they'll repair the side of the trailer. So the trailer is pretty benign, that. The other side is going to be for the tractors that pull the trailers. That's normal diesel repair, whatever required, tires, brakes, that's the kind of stuff they do. Their clients are like Kroger, Kohl's, that kind of stuff. The activity of trailers in and out is pretty minimal. They store a few, because Kroger will drop off a trailer and, it might not be repaired for 2-3 weeks. They just have, they've got a constant flow of trailers.
How do you dispose of the parts you take off these vehicles?
I don't know. I wish I could answer that for you. I don't. I'm the
Pardon me?
I wish I could answer it. I can't. I'm the builder, not the owner. The owner's out of the town, so he couldn't be here tonight. I'm sure they have scrap, that they take once in a while to get rid of it.
There are no
I'd have
provisions
to talk to him. I
on-
hate to speak to it.
Yeah, there are no provisions on this for any kind of outdoor storage for, like, tires or parts or anything like that, is there?
No,
Just
nothing outside. No.
No, not outside.
And you don't normally push vehicles outside that have not been repaired, half torn up, shove them outside.
I don't see, they have an operation in Grand Rapids that I've seen, and that doesn't seem to be the case. Trailers parked in the parking lot. They grab that trailer with a buggy or a tractor, put it in the inside, do the repairs on it, goes back outside, Kroger's comes, gets the trailer.
That part I understand, but I'm saying you yank an engine out of a cab and throw the hull outside and leave it sitting
No,
there looking.
there was virtually in Grand Rapids, there's virtually no outside storage other than trailers.
Okay, that's
And
what I
I've
want to
been-
make sure.
I've known this gentleman for a long time. He's a family member, and, he's straightforward, everything, straight up.
Okay.
He runs quite a good operation, actually.
That was my concern, where they were going to store the spent parts that they take off of these vehicles.
No, they can't leave his stuff outside.
I mean, do they get rid of them immediately? Do they haul them away, or?
I don't know, I'd have to ask him, but he operates in 12 states. It's, like I say, the only one I've seen is Grand Rapids, and everything else, there's nothing outside other than the trailers.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gladfelter.
Got a question for you guys. Is it going to be an outside fuel storage?
No.
No? The other thing I'm surprised to see, no fence or gate at your entrance?
Correct. So we did provide a photometric plan didn't include it in today's presentation. It does meet ordinance. We find that regardless of the use, the photometrics is the main line of defense for security. As long as the site is well lit, which, just to give you a rundown of what the lighting plan would look like, we have wall packs around the entire perimeter of the building itself. That will help light, of course, all the parking spaces that are around the perimeter. And then we have, I want to say maybe about 10 light poles, maybe a dozen scattered throughout the site for the perimeter of the parking. But yes, correct, no gates or fencing at this time.
Madam Chairman brought up something I wanted to find out about, and I couldn't find it on the print. Typically, when you have heavy trucks, you have metal dumpsters for scrap, and we asked for a concrete pad to put those metal dumpsters on, and I couldn't find it anywhere on the print.
Wish I could zoom in a little bit, but right here, to the northwest corner of the building, we do have a concrete pad. I believe one of the comments was it needed to be a foot or two bigger, which that is no issue at all. But we do have a concrete pad. It does have a screen wall and a gate in front of the dumpster itself.
Yeah, that's typically a 5 to 7 yard dumpster. But like a lot of these trucking companies, they'll ask for a 30-yard dumpster for all their metal scrap that a company comes in, picks up maybe weekly, monthly, and then we ask for a concrete pad for it to sit on.
Sure.
But I didn't see it,
So-
but she started the conversation, I wanted to finish it.
Sure. So yeah, we've obviously been in contact with the owner, RSS, and at this time, he hadn't indicated that there is a need for additional storage. Now that you bring it up, I will certainly ask, and if there is a need, then certainly it will be on a concrete pad, and we will enclose it.
Okay, thank you.
I thought that was a question that was asked during the ARC meeting, and they said everything was going to be inside. And
Aside from the dumpster, I believe that's the
aside
case,
from
but
that
I just-
dumpster, but not
correct.
like what he's talking about, you know, the containers, the scrap containers. And I'm trying to see if there's a note that got thrown on the plan to that effect. You don't remember where the note was? Let's see.
Don't they recycle most of the stuff?
Do you remember that? Yeah, but the only thing that's gonna be stored outside are the trucks and trailers. Well, if we're not finding a note to this effect, you guys don't remember putting a note on there like that? You may-
I don't, but.
You may want
just-
to add something to that effect to your conditions, that if that's the kind of stuff, you know, you don't want scrap stored outside. It's got to be inside.
Right, no scrap outside storage.
Yeah,
right?
there is a note, it's on page 6, sheet C6. It says, "Proposed outdoor storage, empty trailer spaces only."
Yeah.
So there is no intended other outdoor storage. And in the ARC meeting, we did take a look at the operation that's in Byron City, at some of the near map images that we do have, and it is a fairly clean operation per what the images are showing right now.
So would we need to revise item 2 under recommendation to say no outside storage of scrap parts or Vehicles
There
in
is a
repair.
note on the plans. It's there.
it is?
Yeah.
It is. Mine has a smiley face by it. I knew it was on here.
Okay, so we're covered.
Yeah, I think we're covered.
Thank you.
I keep forgetting to look this way. Any other questions or comments from anybody?
So, again, that wording, to add that waiver,
Subject to wording to be provided by OHM.
okay.
Yep, we will provide a documentation of that.
It's halfway there, I'll start. Madam Chairman,
Mr. McAnally?
make a motion to approve site plan SPR 2022-030 RSS trailer repair, subject to the 6 items listed in recommendation, with item 6 being a new one regarding a waiver for driveway spacing, which will be, verbiage will be added later.
Support that, Madam Chair.
So we're adding number 6, and that has to do with the driveway.
Spacing.
Spacing, right, okay. I have a motion from Mr. McAnally, supported by Mr. Gladfelty, to approve SPR 2022-030 RSS trailer repair. Let's see. Based on the comments and those in the site plan, subject to the 6 items that are listed on page 5 of the planner's report dated March 15th, 2023. Number 6 being a waiver with regard on the driveway.
Correct.
Correct?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Any discussion? Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Gladfelty?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Boboade?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Prova?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. It's approved.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck, gentlemen. Welcome to the city. Alrighty, moving right along, we have number 9, PC cases involving advice or input from the Planning Commission.
No advice needed tonight. Thank you for asking.
No advice needed tonight? Okay. Reports on interest designation. Do you have something for us, Mrs. Roscoe?
Yes, I have a few things tonight. I'm going to find them here so I can read them to you. Or not read them, but first of all, Easter is coming. And that means April's around the corner, but they're having their yearly Easter egg hunt on Saturday, April 1st at noon, and it starts at noon sharp.
Right.
If you miss it, you miss it. And anyways, it's behind the Romulus Senior Center back there in the field where the track is. Bring your baskets, collect your eggs. If you need more information, call 941-8665, and you're going to have opportunity to get your pictures taken with the Easter Bunny. And then Hometown Heroes is taking applications, nominations. You can go on the website, romulusgov.com/hometownheroes, and get your applications and recommend people for, they have one for good neighbor, elementary school student, outstanding business sector, outstanding veteran, outstanding educator, outstanding public service person, all kinds of things. Anyways, nominations are due in by April 10th. And so for more information, just go to the website for that. And then the Echo Fair 2023, which is Earth Day celebration, is on Saturday, April 29th, and that's at the Romulus Athletic Center from, let me see, I think it was 11 to, I think it's like, 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I'm sorry about that. And they got all kinds of activities for all ages. They're gonna have different speakers there and presenters for different things, and so come on out, and the garden club will be there. They're there every year, and they usually have recommendations and how to put your plants in, how to do all that safely. But anyways, that's about all I have tonight, except for the fact that April, again, like I said, is coming, and second week in April, yard waste will start picking up again. And if you still have branches out of the street, don't worry, they'll be through to finished chipping. They're working at it slowly but surely. They're getting the city cleaned up from the past storms that we've had. We've only got one chipper and a crew, so it takes some time.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to report on their interest designation?
Madam Chair, Celeste, can you repeat that date again for the Echo Fair, please?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat the date for the Echo Fair again?
That is on April, let me get it right, April 29th. So it's a Saturday at the Romulus Athletic Center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Prova?
I have something to add. It's not about the airport, but it's about the community. The Chamber has nominated or recognized Councilman William Wadsworth as a Person of the Year. So April 28th is his banquet. If anybody sees him, give him recognition. He enjoys it. He's so happy to be the Person of the Year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know, I just sent my invitation in yesterday.
yeah. Yep, he likes all that recognition. Thank you.
And he deserves it, you know.
Yeah, he does.
He deserves it. So. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Mr. Kemp, since this is your first meeting with us, do you have anything you'd like to say, or tell us what your plans are?
Yes, my remote's not working, but that's all right.
That's why I made you sit here.
Yeah, I am happy to be here. I've met a lot of great people. Working hard to get caught up on everything going on in the city of Romulus, and I'm looking forward to trying to work with everybody else to make the city the best it can be.
Great.
Thank
He's
you.
off to a
aboard,
good
yes.
start. He's off to a very good start. He's learned more about some of our challenging projects in the last few weeks than we've
Exactly. Okay, next, item 11 is communications, and we have our project status report. Anybody have any questions, anything on the project status report?
There's one on the top of the list, Romulus Distribution Center. We are going to be meeting with them in the middle of this week, and if it looks ready, it does. It's two big industrial buildings in the M1 district, back on the old, we have different names for it, the old landfill property, by the railroad tracks, south of E-Course, across from GM, back in there. Each building is about 500,000 square feet. Sorry. And we're hoping that it'll be ready for a public hearing. We've got some issues to talk to them about on Wednesday, but hopeful when we get them kind of in and out. So there's possibility for April on that. If not April, it'll be May. And some of this other stuff on here, we've had a lot of pre-application meetings on, and some of the other ones aren't in yet. Some of them are a result of code enforcement and some, developments that have happened or expansions that have happened. But certainly if you've got any questions on any of them, we'll be happy to answer
Just a
them.
quick question, Madam Chair. Have you heard anything on the redevelopment of the old A123? Wasn't Ford supposed to do
Yeah,
something
that's
with
Fort
that?
Ion. They've got, did you guys issue a C of O for them?
No, they don't have a C of O yet.
Yep.
They're still
They're
working
in a
on it.
temporary-
Yeah,
So they're
They're
doing
temp- yep,
something?
yep, they're
Yes,
in there.
yes, they're still working in there. I was in there. I was able to go in there, it's probably been about 3 weeks now, and they were doing a lot of their interior work, but they still had a decent ways to go.
Good deal, thank you.
A lot of employees, the parking lot was full last time I went by there, so.
Interesting side note on that, through the chair, is two former coworkers of mine have been hired in there. They went from being contract labor to Ford direct hires.
Cool.
So they were happy about that.
Good, good. There is one other one on this list that you guys may be seeing next month, the Romulus self-storage over on North Line. Did you guys look at it several years ago for a tree nursery, or was that just ZBA or BZA?
Tree nursery?
Yeah, W.H. Cannon had proposed, they bought the property, but there was a property in between. So it was, in essence, an accessory use for W.H. Cannon. And basically, it was just gonna be a tree nursery planted with trees, so that could be that.
I don't remember anything.
You guys may not have seen it, it may have just gone to BZA. Anyways, the property got sold, and the current owner is proposing self-storage. So that plan just came in, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, we've seen it.
We've seen it a couple
3
times.
times, so it should be ready for next time.
Is this Romulus Apartments new?
Romulus Apartments is coming. We don't know when. They're working on utilities right now. That's that one down on Eureka.
Romulus, yeah.
Romulus, yeah.
Yeah, we met with them one time, and they had some things that they had to work out, but they're proposing to do like an apartment complex there. But he's just got to figure out a few things and resubmit.
Where on Eureka?
Relatively small. It's next to the fire station. That property you may have seen.
Oh, on that side of Eureka, on
Yeah.
that side of Middle Belt.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a church proposed there years ago.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. It was
They
that
actually had a
property.
groundbreaking. I've seen it.
So it's that property. There's a lot of property behind them, which is the fire station property, but they're working, Roberto, I think, you guys may have had some message, there was this issue with the sewer. So Roberto's working on that.
So you're
Ready to go,
talking,
and
as
it
far
never
as
goes
North
up.
Line, you're talking like west of the railroad tracks, going west?
Oh, for the self-storage?
Yeah.
Right by that fire station. Yep, we got 2 developments near fire
So
station.
by the rack down there? You're west of the rack?
West, yes, yes.
Closer to here on
By
River
Fire
Drive.
Station
You're in
1.
River Drive, yes,
Here,
closer to here on
yeah.
River Drive, right.
That's a weird place,
It's
Yeah.
kind of narrow.
Yeah, it's an odd shape. They're trying to fit them in.
it's all a wedge.
Yeah. Yep, and both frontage, they've got to have both frontages, 275 frontage and North Line frontage, so they lose some area with that.
This cease and desist order on Pertula's property, is that new, or is that just still ongoing?
Well,
It's on the second page.
the issue's been ongoing, but I think the cease and desist, did you guys write a ticket?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we're trying to move forward on that to get things submitted and some things done over there.
There's been some significant expansion in the back there. They need to vacate some city right away, and.
On his property, you mean?
So,
Do you have a question?
Well, not just a question, it's kind of an observation, is the elevated 275 by Hare River Drive and North Line, that's a mess. I don't know what they got going on over there, but if it rains real hard, I think they might lose the whole thing. They took all the vegetation off the hillside. And if you look over there, there is erosion, and down below, it's like they put in ditches. Just observation is all. I drive by there every day and shake my head.
275 over.
so it's right over in here.
Yes. They
And
took
North
all the
Line.
vegetation off the banks.
Where exactly did they take the vegetation off?
They took all the vegetation off east and west of Hare River Drive.
River Drive.
Under the overpass there?
On 275?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
North
it's,
Bank.
if it rains real hard, I think the whole hill's gonna wash away. I've never seen anything like it. It's like a disaster waiting to happen.
I thought, yeah, we talked about it a couple meetings ago, and I
We
thought
did.
maybe it was for a pipeline, but no, they haven't done anything
No, they took
sub-ground.
all
They just
the
took
vegetation
the
down.
trees away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which hold the bank together. It's bizarre.
Highway.
You see them driving those great big dump trucks over that slanted
Yeah.
berm or edge.
There's already erosion. I don't know what, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens.
Just make sure I'm not underneath it when it does.
You might end up with no overpass there, but here you drive over 275, they keep going.
We will talk to Roberto first thing tomorrow.
Yeah, just keep your ears open on that one, because you're gonna hear about something one day, I know it.
What's going on with our landscaper over there on Hare River Drive? By Wabash?
The outdoor group.
Right.
The outdoor group. That's been one on our list that's come up at our meetings. Was Jim getting ready to write a ticket?
Yeah, I know that we've been in contact with them about, because there was
Here
some
we are.
things that they needed to do and submit. I don't think we've written a ticket yet, but I know that Jim was by there.
I think he met with them.
I think he did. I don't
He
know if
met
it was
with them
last
and
week or the
said,
week
yeah,
before.
yep, this was kind of the last time. The fence went up without approval. They had gotten some of the variances, and it was all contingent upon coming back to you and you guys having some input on some of that.
Right.
So he's made great improvements on the site, but kind of still a lot going on that needs to be,
Oh, yeah. There's just way too many vehicles for the
Yeah.
size of the lot.
yeah. You can mention that to Jim, whatever you guys.
Yep, I will definitely look into that, for sure.
It's, from observation though, it's a pretty orderly lot.
It's
It
orderly.
is a
but it's
pretty
just like-
orderly lot. I've been by there myself a couple times, and it's,
Yeah.
Straight and neat.
It's already hit, it's the best it's looked in a long time.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he moved to Romulus from Canton.
Yes.
And wanted to own his own piece. And that's where he settled in, and pre-existing structure, pre-existing conditions around there. I see the building next door for sale now.
I mentioned that. Who was I talking to?
Lot
hardware.
of calls on that.
They were saying something about maybe he needs more room, but
He doesn't want to, there's an area there that he kind of needs to pave or do something with, and it's gonna kick it into, Jessica explained it better, the whole stormwater, and picking up that property that's for sale, which has got the building and then that vacant area. We've talked to him about doing that, but it's a big project from a stormwater standpoint, I think.
Right, so with the new Wayne County rules, any new impervious area, which would be any repaving that he's proposing on site, any new gravel area or storage area, up to a half acre is grandfathered in, but they're right there at that edge of a half acre. I want to say it's .49 is what they are showing on the plans.
right.
So any additional area from any of that property adjacent would kick them into stormwater requirements.
Gotcha.
Just, again, a little note is that I drive by there every day, and I've never seen no trouble, never seen no mess. It's been improved. We don't want to chase him off.
Oh, yeah, there's just a lot of vehicles there. I mean, he has no room to, so. Have to get some bigger landscaping out front.
So just a quick question, report here. Image One Contracting, 7084 Wayne Road, Speedway Gas Station?
Which
that
one
the
is it?
former site of the old one?
I'm sorry, couldn't hear you.
Oh, the Speedway Gas Station.
Speed, which,
Image One Contracting, 7084 Wayne Road.
what page are you on, or what's it under?
First page. The planner's report here.
About halfway down.
Oh, Safeway Oil Service?
No, right above it.
Image one.
Oh, Image One
Image One
Contracting.
Contracting.
Strange name for a gas station company, but that's what.
Yeah,
Doesn't stick
Kayla
out.
did this, oh, yeah, boy, that probably doesn't, yeah. We have two former Speedway sites. Boy, I don't know where she got this from.
One of Wayne
It's a
and Wick, and one
combination
of
of two
Ecorse.
different projects.
I've never seen that before.
7084 is the former, one is at Wayne and Ecorse, the other one is at Wayne and Wick.
Right.
And a gentleman purchased both of them. There's fuel restrictions on both of them, deed restrictions. So we're working with their corporate councils, their special councils, to get those deed restrictions lifted, because we said we're not touching it until, we don't want to waste our time, going through public hearings for special land uses and everything for a gas station that a deed restriction says it can't be there. So the new owner is working through with his attorneys on that. So, yeah, I apologize for this. That's a mix of a couple things.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen that one on there.
Yeah, you know what ended up happening is that we're taking, in order to pull in our consultants, we have to take money up front to pay for time, and so they're all getting numbers. So I think what she's doing is going through and just taking her list of everything that's in BSNA, but a lot of it is there just because they've started pre-application. That one actually didn't take these guys' time, it took the attorney's time. So that's why it's a number assigned to it. So yeah, it really shouldn't have been on here yet.
Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? Everybody want to go home?
Yes.
Okay, item 12 is adjournment.
So moved.
Report.
Motion for Mr. McAnally.
Support here.
Do you second it, Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Long did.
Second by Long. Mr. McAnally.
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes.
Mr. Boboade.
Yes.
Mr. Frederick.
Yes.
Mr. Crowe.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. This meeting stands adjourned. Go home and...